Hello once again, ladies and gentlemen. In this episode, I would like to talk about the importance of disconnecting. In this day and age, we are more connected than ever before in recorded history. In many ways, this is a good thing, for the very fact that you are listening to this from wherever you are in the globe would not be possible without connection via the information network currently set up. The internet especially allows for free sharing of ideas at an incredible rate. This has brought forth the greatest library of information that humanity has ever had access to, from what we know at least. The technological increases of society we have seen as of late surely do have their place in the evolution of humanity. However, these advances have not been without their own problems. I have seen people who come to the other side of the world to embark on a travelling adventure only to spend 12 hours of the day staring into their phone, playing games, engaging or being hypnotized in social media, or just watching TV series. Okay, so there was only a handful of these extreme cases, but what was interesting is how I had a rather unique experience to be able to spend time with people all over the world, and I assure you this electronic indulgence epidemic is global. Okay, so a bit of internet usage, watching the odd film and catching up with friends, family, no problem with that. Using the internet as the marvellous tool it is to do research, upload your creations, or to make new connections you never would have had before, even better. What is to be remembered is that our bodies and brains, when looking back at our evolutionary history, if even half of what we have been told is actually true, we have barely been exposed to these new technologies and frequencies for 100 years. Epigenetics and the power of the mind aside, one would assume that it would take a while for the physicality of the human to catch up with such alien conditions. What is adding to the problem is the relentless increase of the electromagnetic frequency fog with the ever-increasing pursuit of faster connections via the 5G, smart, stupid grid, and so on. I believe the increase of the frequencies could very well outrun the chance the human body has to adapt, unless of course one engages incredibly deeply into esoteric work, fully utilising the creative power of their bodies and minds. Then I believe with a truly strong aura and a healthy mind state, one would be a lot less affected by any of these external factors. Perhaps this is the alchemical process happening on Earth whereby only the elite of the spiritually alive will make it through these challenging times. However, due to my love of the human race, even in its stupidity, I would like to think that more than just a fraction of the population has the potential to live on this planet. To say for sure, though, is way out of my knowledge. We would have to consult higher beings, or the creator perhaps, of such answers, if it is even within the realm of possible things for the human race to know at this time. With this, I will still strive to do everything I can to help my fellow man achieve a harmonious life on this planet. We may be inherently service to self, society and world, but that does not mean we have to stay this way and can't progress into a truly beautiful way of living whereby the forces of evil are kept in check by a wise and learned population. With my heart, I believe this to be a possible future for humanity, the timeline being available to transition onto now with the long reign of darkness coming to an end if we want it to be so. And now that brings me nicely on to my next point, which is quite simply, get the fuck in nature. Now, let me explain such a bold and beautiful non-politically correct title. Sex is connection or touch or an energy exchange, so go engage in the deepest possible way you can with nature and embrace the beautiful energies of our collective mother, this magnificent planet. Here I am talking a little bit more than your casual stroll through the park, which is good, don't get me wrong, but with the connection I am alluding to goes deeper than this, and what I would suggest is to all within these hectic times is to spend at least 2 weeks, preferably a good month, completely without electricity in the middle of nature. Yes, you heard that right. No electricity. You don't have to use your imagination too hard to come up with a long list of modern comforts that would not be at your immediate disposal once you are away from the modern day lifeline, which is the power cable. If you are still listening and haven't fallen off your chair at the repulsion of such an idea, I will assume you're at least slightly curious at the prospect of living without electricity for a short while. Now let me refer to my own experience where I did this for 5 weeks in the middle of the bush in New Zealand. Firstly, I should mention it was actually a surprise for me to have this experience, as I had applied to stay at this place via Helpex's website and it was cheekily not advertised on the listing that there would be no electricity. My first thoughts and feelings were of confusion and annoyance. Where would I put my items that needed to be refrigerated? There actually was a fridge, but of course it was symbolic at best and only served as a defense mechanism against bugs and other creatures. Also, how would I charge my laptop? How would I stay in touch with the outside world? I must say though, after the initial shock, I was lucky to be welcomed by really great people, and it wasn't long before we were laughing away and sharing stories, this taking the edge of the shock I had just experienced. Skip forward 3 days and I was absolutely loving it, walking everywhere I could, barefoot, spending the days working on simple projects and exploring the natural beauty of the surroundings, and the nights were spent grouped around a fire, sharing our wisdom, stories and experiences. Because of course, there was no lights. What was also great is everyone was so much more present with each other. No phones, no phone signal. Meant that everyone's so much more fully engaged with each other. I don't think we realise sometimes how much time we can spend on screens, especially people growing up in today's world where it's become a part of life. What I also found very interesting was how sensitive the body is to light. It was about a week before I would get up at the crack of dawn, like clockwork, showing how the body is still really used to the natural rhythms of sunlight and will probably take a while to adapt to the new living conditions regarding the artificial lighting. I would also mention that the LED lighting isn't great, and I prefer halogen lighting to do the warmth of the light. I much prefer that. So luckily, also being so isolated, the night sky was truly amazing. It did not take me long to almost forget the outside world entirely. I can't say I missed checking social media though. It felt as if my mind had been freed from a powerful addiction. I won't go into detail about everything I experienced, which was a powerful mushroom experience that you can find on my website or in my other talks. The objective in this talk is to bring to light the importance of connecting with nature, and I believe jumping right in and breaking ties with the modern world for a while is a great way to do this. I would not live this way forever though, at least not right now. I believe the fight is still in this world with which we are in, and the power to create change is still possible thanks to the internet. Coming back to electricity is also a great part of the whole experience, for you appreciate everything so much more. Hot running showers, food refrigeration, being able to read books at night and so on. Everything felt so exciting again and my body and mind felt reconnected and recharged. I would say though, going to a supermarket the day before Easter weekend was absolutely chaos. Coming from the peaceful solitude of the mountains, this was a very full-on experience and was very overwhelming. I had to very much hold my ground as the masses of people swirled around me, but it was quite fun nonetheless. And just after a year from having this kind of experience, I'm going to be taking the no electricity plunge yet again, as I feel the need to get away from everything and just disconnect. Having now just completed my music album, this seems like a great time to do this, but only now it'll be in Ireland, so I wonder what the difference will be, apart from the temperature and the weather, of course. But how about you? Do you think you could live for a month without electricity? Thank you. Goodbye.